Wrestlemania 15. Stone Cold vs. The Rock. March 28, 1999, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. No DQ match for the WWE Championship. Mr. McMahon won the 1999 Royal Rumble, yet relinquished his guaranteed championship opportunity the following night on Raw. Shawn Michaels, acting as WWE Commissioner instead of his injury, ruled that if the Rumble winner cannot or will not compete, then the second place finisher would receive the title shot at WrestleMania. Second place finisher? Stone Cold. And St. Valentine's Day Massacre often put his title shot on the line in a steel cage match against Mr. McMahon. WCW star Paul White shocked the world as he stormed the ring and threw Stone Cold through the cage wall to the arena floor below, inadvertently giving him the victory. With his victory over Mr. McMahon, the main event of WrestleMania 15 was set. Stone Cold would challenge The Rock for the WWE Championship. A rivalry for the ages was born. Oh, no video package. Now see, I'm not one of those people who says, oh, the Attitude Era was the best time ever. Why can't we go back to that? Because I know we can't, really. Some of it was lightning in a bottle, and the reality of it is, not all of the Attitude Era was so great. There was some things that were just honestly mediocre. Certain things were really just not that great, and some things that were going on were absolute garbage, as they often are. But if one thing really stood out, the mid-card is usually pretty good, but if one thing really stood out about the Attitude Era, it was the main event. They were putting on consistently memorable and good main event matches. You were either getting a really good match, or you were at least getting some kind of unpredictable spectacle. I almost said skeptical spectacle that you would not easily forget. And I think that's why, combined with the amount of violence they had back then, I think that's why a lot of people act like it's the greatest time ever, when it was just kind of a damn good time. I really like the main event scene back in the Attitude Era because, unlike the time before it for a while, and unlike a lot of times since then, the people in the main event deserve to be there, as a rule. Undertaker, Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, which I know some people will argue with me, but Triple H, Mankind, or whatever Mick Foley personality he was, usually Mankind. God, who else? Kurt Angle once he debuted, which was the same year as this, like later in the year. Pretty much all those guys that were in the main event title picture, they really deserved to be there. They had generally solid wrestling ability. They all had good charisma and character to them. They could do good promos. They had good ability to work a crowd and get the crowd behind them or against them as needed. And as a rule, their matches weren't so predictable, which was what made them good in many cases. The Rock had, kind of a 5 moves of Doom chain and everything, but overall, you didn't really know what was going to happen because they had a lot of no disqualification matches and stuff. Nothing was formulaic. Most things weren't.
And that's what it's all about.
So, I'm really very favorable towards the main event picture during the Attitude Era days. Overall. First in the trilogy of Rock Austin at WrestleMania. Alright. Wait, is it really teaching me? Is it teaching me how to lean people against stuff? Okay, thank you, I know how to do that. Moderate damage, lure him to the entrance. Oh, I know what spot that is. I had started watching wrestling by the time this WrestleMania happened. I did not get to see it live because I started on WCW. I started out on WCW because that was the first video game I played. The first wrestling game I played, which is what got me into it in the first place, was WCW World Tour. A friend convinced me to rent it on N64, and then that didn't get me to start watching, but it piqued my interest. And then I played WCW Revenge in '98, and that's what did it. And around the end of '98, I started watching. And I started watching Nitro every week. And I looked into Raw some, but I didn't order a WWE pay-per-view until, I think, 2 months or so after this. No, I guess 3 months or so. It was the first King of the Ring. It was the King of the Ring in '99, the first pay-per-view after Owen's death at Over the Edge. I'm really glad I did not watch that event, because that would not have been good for me to see within my first year of watching pro wrestling, obviously. Let me get him down to the entrance. Yeah, I did get to see this, though, like, months after it happened. My friend had videotaped it, and I went over to his house and watched it. Yeah, in March of '99, I made the wonderful decision to watch WCW Uncensored instead, on pay-per-view, because I didn't know better yet. I don't even remember what was on that card, mostly. I know the main event was a cage match between Flair and Hogan, and it was garbage. I remember that, and I remember the... Oh, the spot hurts, even to look at in the game. I don't know that they needed to do that spot, because it was Austin's bad leg that slammed into that fucking lighting. It was nasty, man. Oh god, I think it actually did significant leg damage. Oh, yeah, it feels like an Attitude Era match. Come on, Rocky. Yeah, I'm moving slow. I messed up my leg.
Oh, look at the emotion.
Okay. Lean the Rock against the announce table and grapple him. Here we go. I wonder if it's going to break on one try, or if it's going to be true to life and Stone Cold's going to have to try more than once. He has to spit in the eyes. Rocky thinks he's got the momentum. Wrong. I think it's going to break on one go. Austin did it off like the side of the guardrail the first time, and it didn't break. So he got pissed off, got back up, and did that. Just for anyone who hasn't seen the match for whatever reason, and if you haven't, go watch it. It's a pretty good match. I think the I'll get into it later. I think the WrestleMania 17 match is better, but that doesn't matter much. Okay, hidden objective and a WrestleMania moment. I'm not sure precisely how to trigger either. I don't know what else happened in the match. I mean, I think Vince or someone tries to interfere, and I remember in the end Mick Foley comes down to become a special referee when the ref gets knocked out. Because didn't he fight Big Show for that right earlier in the night or something like that, and it didn't work out? I didn't watch the whole show, I just rewatched the WrestleMania match. I'm trying to remember just off pure memory. Trying to recall. I'm going to try to get him to critical damage, maybe see if that helps trigger the hidden objective. Because I'm not certain what it is offhand. Oh! Gotcha. Get the finisher. And now I just got to go for the pin. and then shenanigans will ensue. Kicks out automatically. Austin cannot believe it. By God. Yeah, here comes Vince. Fuck you. Oh. In the nuts. It's all legal. No DQ. Vince randomly decides, you know what? I have no reason to knock out the ref, but I will. And here comes Mick. Told you. Good old Mickles comes to the rescue. Takes his place as the ref.
Somebody hit Mankind quick. Where's Mr. McMahon? He's laid out somewhere in front of us. And that one hurt his hand. And there's the reversal.
Now, Wrestlemania moment's probably not too hard to trigger. I want to do that Fez press though. There we go. Pressing the punches. I think Michael Cole would call that vintage Stone Cold. Let's get this. Stunner! Nope. Reversed rock bottom attempt. Stunner! There's the big sell from The Rock. I love the way he used to sell those stunners, man. 1, 2, 3. And the first of the trilogy goes to Stone Cold.
Here is your winner and new WWE champion, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin wins.
I still love that referee shirt on Mick Foley, by the way. Friggin' tattered homemade referee shirt. Spray painted stripes. Oh, dude, we get the beer bash. Whoever threw those beers to him had impeccable aim. He never, I don't remember ever seeing him undershoot. He practically never overshot the toss. And often had the coordination to catch him perfect every time. Like they were just being fired out of some invisible cannon off screen. It's cool to see this happen in the game, though. The Attitude Era is in full swing. Got the belt and everything.